Welcome back to Coffee Time. Get you another cup of coffee. Enjoy the rest of the program. Thursday morning, you know who we got? Danny Cain. Walker Extension on.
I tell you, it's great to be here this morning.
How you doing? I missed you last week.
Yeah, we've been just busy with just all manner of stuff.
But I'm gonna tell you, your agent Brown came in. We talked about trees. We talked about planting trees, trimming trees. He's pretty good.
Lucky to have the staff that we have at the office. You know, we got Brian is our probably our newest member on the staff, and he is doing home horticulture, home grounds.
Wow.
And he's housed in our office, but covers multiple.
He said he had about 11 counties, 9 or 11 counties, something like that. He's an Oakland guy.
That's right. Grew up here in Oakland in Walker County.
He went down to some college, South Auburn, somebody.
Yeah, some one of those southeast destination colleges or something.
But what's going on at the office?
Yeah, we've got just staying busy. You know, Becky's been wide open doing 4-H programs, and we got Cade Grace, who does our agronomic crops. He's been on the road more than he's really been in, and it's a busy time of the year for them getting planned for like next year's variety trials and things like that. And so he's been really busy working, doing a lot of workshops, and it's just been full on, as much as it can be around the office. So everybody.
We had your lady come and talk about food preservation, food cooking, temperatures.
Susan does a great job. She's actually housed in the Winston County office, but Walker County is one of her counties. She does our Serve Safe training.
She brought thermometers in here about cooking with thermometers.
That's right.
Getting the right temp.
That's right.
That was a good class.
She did a really good workshop on cottage food law. If you, for those that want to, you do baked foods and things like that at home and sell those, you have to have passed and be certified in the cottage food law, and so Susan is the one that handles that training for us as well. And
you still got your class going on right now?
Still got Master Gardener going on. We're in week 4 or week 5. It kind of runs together with me a little bit. But second class that we've had this year, we did a spring class, and this year we also did a fall class.
You ever had 2 classes in 1 year?
Never had 2 classes in the same year, and it's been good to see. But we had of course they're doing it now partly online, partly via distance, partly Zoom, and partly in face to face. So it's what we call a hybrid class. But in our spring class, we had about 14, and this fall class we got about 15.
Good.
So we've got good numbers there. Be ready. For those of you that have not gotten in on Master Gardener who would like to do that, be ready for the announcement. We're going to once again do a spring class only next year. So we'll have a spring class, but no fall class.
Now we say this every time we talk about Master Gardener. The booklet they're going to get is worth all the money. And
they've just done a complete rewrite on that manual.
Man, what a manual.
You get the new updated manual, and it's I always tell they never believe me until they get it, but I say it's worth its weight in gold.
Whatever it costs you to get that manual.
It's a lot of material, and there are a lot of good stuff in that manual. I use mine all the time. And
it teaches everything you need to know.
That's right, and it mirrors exactly the class step by step, and what's covered and what's imported, and a lot of stuff that's not covered in our class.
Now, I went down the other day. I was doing some work under my back deck, and I went down there, and I looked up, and there was a wasp nest about that big above my head. With them red ones now. Yeah, these were red ones.
They've been pretty abundant, and they are in actually a group of wasps that we call paper wasps, and they so named because of the paper-like nest or
the nest
that they build.
And this thing was 7 inches.
That's a big one, and but there's the red wasp. There's also one that the yellow kind of brownish striped wasp that we call guinea wasp.
That's a bad stinger.
They're not very. Usually when you stir those up, they're not real happy.
No, they're not happy.
So quite honestly, the best bet is if it's not in a place where you are going to have to be very frequently, just leave them alone. And so. But anyway, we've got information on stinging insects, and that's kind of one of the things actually I wanted to talk about today. Not necessarily bees and wasps, but we're going to talk about some of our stinging caterpillars that are very common actually in the fall of the year. We start
stinging caterpillars.
And here's the thing. When I grew up on a farm, and we would we would have, you know, in the fall we would pull ear corn that we would store as cattle feed or whatever, and so we would encounter these quite often, you know, out as we were pulling fall corn and stuff on into October, September into October. But we're going to start off with the first slide we look at. You see three insects right here, and just kind of a little trivia bit to get everybody engaged. There's one insect on here, and all caterpillars are insects. It's the larval stage of an insect. So you see three here that are actually very common here in and around our part of the state.
I see the caterpillar. What's those other two?
Yeah, all three of these are caterpillars.
Okay, all three of them.
Right. One is harmless, two is of the stinging variety. And so I always engage my master gardeners in my classes. This is where we start. You know, you got to pick out the one that's harmless.
Well, if I had to guess, I think you're trying to play with me. I think that one on the far right with the horns on his head is harmless.
That's exactly right, and we're going to talk about those in a minute. But yeah, he is. It's the biggest. It's the most fiercest looking. It's got the most horrible name. But is also the most harmless. So we go to the next slide. Let's talk about these kind of one at a time. And this is the one that we usually always encountered when we were out in the cornfields and things. And this one is called saddlebacked caterpillar. What you know, my parents and grandparents would call a pack saddle was their name for it. Mm-hmm. And and they actually don't bite or sting like a bee or a wasp or something like that, but they're covered with bristles, and these bristles have a substance or a toxin, if you want to call it that, that's very irritating. Actually, and when you get in contact with this one, feels almost like a bee sting is about what it's analogous to. But you get a lot of redness and swelling and things like that. But they're very distinctive. Actually, very pretty little caterpillar. They're brown in color generally, with a kind of a green, what I call a jacket. Okay, and they get their name from that round kind of circular pattern of brown up there right on top of the back that looks almost like a horse saddle, which is where they get their name, saddleback caterpillar. Okay. But that's one of the.
But it will sting you.
That's right. Yeah, I got in trouble with my wife earlier on when I sent her out to do some stuff in the flower beds and stuff like that, and she got against a couple of those, and so now I've got me a new job, and that is to maintain the flower beds at home. So anyway, next one is another one of our stinging caterpillars. Actually, this one is a little bit a little bit more severe on the scale. People have a very strong reaction at times to this. It's called a pus caterpillar, and it looks very hard. It looks almost cuddly, almost just a kind of a anywhere from a tan brown to a dark brown color, just covered. It looks almost woolly or hairy, you know. But those again, those fibers or spines can cause you quite a bit of irritation, and I've known of these to actually send people on ER trips and stuff, because it's a pretty substantial sting. So anytime you're dealing with these stinging caterpillars, it's just like when I teach my classes on snakes or any of other things. You know, just the most important rule is just do not put your hands where your eyes can't see. Check if you're working in the landscape, working with trees or shrubs or flowers in the flower garden or whatever. Make sure that you look before you reach and touch.
Well, a pair of gloves kind of help.
Gloves will help, and long sleeve shirt, and that also give you some protection from the. So even though we're kind of getting a little bit of cooler temperatures, especially in the morning and evening, it's been really good temperature wise, but we still got to deal with the sun is still there, and so there's still all the likelihood of sunburn and long-term exposure with skin cancers and things like that. So make sure you protect yourself not only from stinging caterpillars, but from the elements as well. Now, what a lot of people want to ask. Fortunately, these pus caterpillars, you don't tend to find these in large numbers. They tend to be more solitary. So just because you see one doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to see a lot more. Saddlebacks are a little bit different. They're a little more numerous. Generally, when you start to see one or two, you're going to see a few around. If it's more than one, and you just people always ask, well, what do you spray? How do you control them or whatever? The product that I usually recommend is one of our BT products, Dipel or Thurside. Either one of those has BT as an active ingredient. It's actually a derivative of a bacteria that's very good at cleaning up caterpillars and things like that. Also won't harm your beneficial insects and things. So
now their food supply is on the plants.
Yeah, actually, and they will both suck nectar. Some of them actually will get insects, but mostly it's plant material, leaf material or nectar or what we call honeydew or sap. But for the most part, they're plant feeders, as most caterpillars are. So that brings us to the third one, and this is the one this time of the year. I can't believe I haven't already gotten one or two of these brought into the office. But these are called hickory horn devils, and I'm not sure who came up with that name.
There.
Yeah. I'm not. It's a very undeserving kind of a name or a title, but these can get quite large. I've seen these up to about 4 to 5 inches in length. Quite large, kind of a jade green color. Looks armored up with all those horns, and but those are completely harmless. They don't bite. They don't sting. There's no real weaponry there. It's all for show. And so these are the ones that when I can find one, these are the ones I usually collect up, and we do our programs for the kids because we take them out and handle them, and they're like I said, completely harmless. These are again foliage feeders. They tend to feed on just as their name would indicate, anything that's in the hickory genus, which are your hickories, your pecans, your walnuts, those type of things. I've seen them on persimmon, even occasionally on oaks, but not quite as often as some of the hickories and things. And I'll take a look at the next picture now. Now we talk about harmless insects, caterpillars, and they do become insects. This is what we call a regal moth, and this is the adult form of the hickory horn devils.
Wow.
Really colorful.
All right, how long do they, I'm going to say it like this, how long do they keep that body of a caterpillar before they do this?
Yeah, generally they will mutate. They will pupate.
Yes.
Generally down in the soil. Then they will emerge as the adult. They complete their whole the whole life cycle from egg to laying eggs again within less than a year.
Less than a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So these are not really long-lived top insects, but generally we see them in that the adult larvae form.
Yes.
That's kind of an oxymoron there, but it's because larvae are not adults, but the large larvae about this time of the year, October, whatever, then they'll pupate, then they'll be ready to hatch out and do their thing again next year. So,
okay.
But anyway, not really a concern as far as being a pest. They'll eat a few leaves off of a hickory tree or something, but not a real major pest. And so anyway, a lot of other things going on in the fall besides just stinging caterpillars and harmless caterpillars for that matter. And we'll take a look at the next slide here. And one of the things I always get asked about is fall gardening.
Yes.
And one of the real advantages, I think, one of the real great things about where we live is that we can almost garden, if you want to, year round. This time of the year, we're early September still, so really our summertime gardens, all those tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and things like that are kind of on the way out if they're not already played out. Time to transition into those fall gardens, and there's a lot of crops that we can grow within, in a fall garden.
All right. When do we plant right now?
Generally, you'll seed anywhere from about early to mid-August to about early to mid-September.
Okay.
So
right now.
That's right. So we can do this time of the year. We can still get a nice turnip green patch in, and I always grew them at home, and I could eat my weight in turnip greens, and that's a lot of turnip greens, by the way, but, so you can still get those in, collards, radishes, You know, and many, you know, you can still do some broccolis and things like that. Some onion sets if you want to grow onions. There are many things that you can grow in a fall garden. If you haven't already got started with it, you know, you need to do a little bit of prep work. First off, all of that what I call the plant residue from your summer garden needs to come off. We're gonna clean all that off because that can harbor those diseases and stuff for those summertime crops that'll over harbor in the ground, and so you plant those same crops again and it will build up those diseases that are actually soil-borne, many of them. So remove all the old crop residue. You know, break the ground, you know, really good. If you pretty heavily summer gardened it and fertilized according to schedule, you can probably get by with either a very light application of fertilizer or sometimes even none at all, depending on when the last time you applied a fertilizer. If not, you usually recommend just a balanced type fertilizer, your 888 type fertilizer. You know, a couple pounds for 1,000 square feet or so, or 100 square feet actually. So you can, you know, so that kind of depends on when the last time you fertilized was.
Now, I see that water system you got out there. That's very important.
Yeah, on your fall crops, your
drip.
A couple of things are going to be really more important, actually, even than spring garden. Generally, here we are in September, October, even into early November, tends to be some of our driest periods in the year. So you're going to need some way to keep those crops watered, especially early on, either drip tape or soaker hose, or because I've got to the point in my life I hate toting buckets of water to water plants with. So some soaker hose or even drip tape is the way to go on watering those. Also, many of our insects and diseases actually tend to be a little worse with our fall gardening crops because those populations have built up over summertime. Okay. And so you're going to have to kind of monitor those fall crops a little closer than what we do sometimes with our spring crops for not only disease but also for insects as well. And so you know, as those problems you know, do pop up, you know, we won't get into all of them today, but we'll be glad at the office to help you out with those problems as they pop up. Another fall activity that is to kind of replace those. You know, we grow a lot of summer annuals for our color. You know, all the petunias and salvias and geraniums and begonias and all those type things. So all of those are kind of transitioning out now for what we call our fall mums or hardy mums. And these are great because they kind of make a transition from summer color, because we're not exactly at the point in time where we start to plant those winter annuals yet. The pansies and violas and even some species of poppies we can grow here during the summertime. I'm sorry, during the winter time. But these mums provide a really colorful transition period, and we do our mums this way. It used to be you could get one type of hardy mum. Now these are not the floral mums like you go to the florist store to buy an arrangement. So hardy mums are a little more cold tolerant. Okay, so what we do with these this time of the year is we use them as accents or to add color to your front entryway, to your patios, to your decks, and things like that. Make sure that they are well drained, but which means as pretty as that little colorful foil or plastic or whatever that they come around the pipe when you purchase them, that needs to either come off, or what I've started recommending actually, if you just like that color, just take the bottom off. Okay, cut around the bottom, but that allows water to drain through. Mums have to be well drained, but they also need to be moist. They don't like to be dried out. Okay, and so we can use those for color accents. Then a little bit later on, as the blooms start to fade, they can go straight out into your landscape. Plant them out in the garden or in your flower beds or whatever, and generally they will perenniate here fairly nicely. And
all right, tell us how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, you can reach us here at the Walker County Extension Office at 205-221-2785. 3392, or you can reach us on that big old World Wide Web at www.aces, that's ACES.edu, or reach us on our Facebook page. We put a lot of this information out on our Facebook page, and we got quite a number of people follow us on Facebook now. So either one of those you can reach us, or stop by to see us. We're out on the airport road, right in front of that big old 911 tower, and
any questions, call Danny and his staff, or like you said, go online.
We'll be glad to see you, help
Danny,
you whenever we
can.
can.
Coming in. Good
Thank
program.
you for having us. Thank you.
We're going to take a break, and we'll come right back with more Coffee Time.